Hello, good evening. Welcome. You are on Sports Today, and we're coming to you live seconds after stumps on day one of the one-off test between England women and India women in Bristol. Of course, England won the toss and decided to bat first. They handed debut to one player, Sophia Dunkley, who became the first black woman to play Test cricket for England. And India, of course, went in with five debutants. Two of them had a pretty good day in Bristol after England opted to bat first and finished at 269 for six. Well, how did it go really? How did the day pan out for the two teams? Of course, it was England who had the upper hand for most of the match. Remember, they were 230 at one stage, and from there on, it was a great fight back. It was great resilience and determination showed by India to keep England to 269 for six. There were significant contributions from openers Lauren Winfield Hill and, of course, Tammy Beaumont, uh, who scored 66. Beaumont scored 66. Winfield Hill scored 35. But the charge for England was really led by skipper Heather Knight, who was unfortunate to miss out on her century. She fell for 95, five short of what would have been a spectacular 100 in this historic test match. India women were playing a test match after 7 years, and of course there was another fine knock from Natalie Skiva, who scored 42. For India, two of the debutants were the pick of the bowlers on day one of this one-off test match. Sneh Rana with figures of 3 for 77, and Dipti Sharma, who picked up 2 for 50 of her 18 overs. So that was quite a dream performance from these two debutants on their on this day. So that was that, and it was thanks to both Sneh and Deepti that India were able to bounce back with those quick wickets at the end. That India were able to bounce back and stay afloat in this Test match, because at one time it did look like England were heavily dominating, and Heather Knight was in such fine form. She just led from the front once again, not for the first time that Heather Knight, that legend, lead England women from the front. Credit must also be given to Jhulan Goswami, who were 38 years age, by 15 years of international cricket, top flight cricket, bowled 18 overs. She bowled her heart out. Of course, she did not get any wickets on the first day, but there's still a lot of cricket to be played in this Test match. So you will, of course, see, hopefully, for Indian fans, you will see some impact from Jhulan Goswami as we go into this game. A lot of comments here already. Suri is excellent fight back, just a tad bit concerned about Julian's workload, which is why I made the point about identifying the bench strength of fast bowlers. Also, Ikta would have been a handful. Absolutely agree with you there. A lot of workload there for Julian Goswami, but she's just a champion, isn't she? She has just shown over the years what a champion she is, being selfless, relentless, and just such a legend. 18 overs on this day. And at one point of time, she did bowl the maximum number of overs before Sneh Rana and Deepti Sharma worked wonders. Of course, India need to source a couple of left-hand bowlers from soon who can hustle batswomen and can support SP and SH. Julian's workload must be. Suri is quite obviously concerned about Julian Goswami's workload, but again, she's such a champion. Um, Sachin Chaudhary saying good class session for the India women's team. Exactly, Sachin, great fight back from the India women's team. Like I said at the start of the show, 2 for 230 at one stage and 269 for six at stumps. That was incredible fight back from the India women. Heather Knight really leading that charge for England, which is and her wicket there towards the closing stage, towards that last session of the day. That was a great that was a great point for India. That was the highlight for India's fight back, of course. She fell LBW to Dipti Sharma there. And Dipti Sharma also accounted, she took two important wickets. She also accounted for the wicket of Natalie Skiver, who was also very well settled, batting on 42. So that's the update there. England women are 269 for six at close of play at stumps on day one of the one-off test, the historic one-off test being played in Bristol between England women and India women. In India, of course, England won the toss and decided to bat first. Got off to a great start thanks to Lauren Winfield Hill and Tammy Boyne before Heather Knight really has anchored that England innings with a superb 95. That was incredible viewing, wasn't it? 9 boundaries there. That was top notch batting from Heather Knight. Before these guys, the two debutants, Neerana and Deepti Sharma, bounced back so wonderfully. Deepti Sharma counting for those two big wickets of Heather Knight as well as Nately Skiver. There's obviously lots to look forward to. For India on the first session for the first session of day two, which is a 4 day match. There'll be plenty to look forward to. England will be pressing closer to 300, more than 300. That'll be a pretty challenging total. Arusha saying, yes, I think England should get all out for below 300 in tomorrow's session. That's what India would want. That's what India would want to do. In fact, keep England in check and restrict them below 300. Sachin is again saying tomorrow first session is very important. Absolutely. So that's incredible to see what these women have done. India women. They were the 5 debutants playing Test cricket after 5-7 years, and they've really fought. They've really fought hard and fought back. Suri is saying, thanks for coming online this late. Appreciate your commitment to women's cricket. Of course, that's what we promise. Thank you, Suri, for joining us. Thank you, Avinash, Sachin, Arush, all of you for joining us on Sports Today. Because we keep coming to you with sports from all over the world, and women's cricket, India women's cricket is of absolute importance to us. You've seen Boria do his shows. He's done several interviews with women's cricketers and his special shows, and we are committed to covering all sports, and women's cricket is critically important to us as well. We'll cover it in the same zeal as the World Test Championship final, where India take on New Zealand from Friday. So you'll see a lot of coverage around that as well. And as indeed we are covering the Euros, the European Championship and French Open, whether it's Olympics, we are there right through to bring to you the best of all sports. So that's the update. Really, it was a good day of Test cricket. At the end of the day, you could talk about England's start, you could talk about the Indian fight back, but at the end of the day, what really mattered was the fact that I think now honors, both teams would have shared honors at the end of the first day, 269 for 6. England wouldn't be too displeased with that, really. It's a good total to go to stumps on the first day. Their main challenge would be to go and bat a little longer tomorrow, get past 300, probably push close to 330, 340. Sophia Dunkley, the debutant, or the only debutant for England, is at the crease now, and that's like I said, she's the first black woman to play Test cricket for England. So that's a bit of history there out in the middle, with Sophia Dunkley. Out in the middle is Catherine Brunt. So that's something England would want to do: try and press closer to 300, and then take it on from there. That will be a good mood to good. That will be a feel good mood for the England camp as well. Over 330, 340. That's going to be a pretty challenging first innings total there, and India would want to come back in the morning and wrap things up quickly to get things to quickly to bowl England out and keep them under 300, like so many of you Indian fans are hoping. And why not, right? Keep them under 300, and then of course you have a pretty strong batting lineup. Remember, 17-year-old Shefali Verma is making her debut. Then you have the legend Mithali Raj, Harmanpreet Kaur. So that's a pretty strong batting lineup there for India. So you never know how that can shape up if India manage to keep England under 300. Sachin, again, thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you, Rajesh Gupta, for covering women's cricket also. Of course, we would. We keep promising that. You've seen on Sports Today, you've seen with Boria. We committed to covering women's cricket. I'm committed to covering women's cricket, and that is of importance, massive importance to us. India women playing their first Test match in 7 years. That's a massive moment, and we wouldn't let this go, would we? This is the time to celebrate. This is really the time to celebrate. Waiting for men's cricket, Sai Saran Reddy is saying, of course, that is the World Test Championship final starting between India and New Zealand this Friday at Southampton. Both teams are geared up. Yesterday we told you the final 15 for both squads. So that will be something interesting to look forward to. Swaraj Wankare, hello Swaraj. Thank you for joining us so late, all of you. That also shows your commitment to women's cricket and the importance it holds in this country. Of course, our girls are out there playing England and Bristol. We'd hope for the best for the Indian women's cricket team. 269 for six, then England women at stumps. Heather Knight top scoring with 95. Um, Tammy Boyman, a half century for her, and the two debutants, Sneh Rana and Deepti Sharma, taking 3 and 2 wickets respectively. So that's a good day for India. England women would be probably a tad bit disappointed, slipping from 230 for 2 to 269 for 6 at stumps. But that's the way the cookie crumbled at this test match. Shefali Wankhede, Swaraj Wankhede is saying Shefali will be exciting. Of course, we'll be looking forward to Shefali's Shefali stint with the bat when she walks out, the 17-year-old Shefali Verma. That's going to be something to watch out for. Well, then that's that for the women's test match. It stumps after 92 overs of intense, high octane, high quality cricket in Bristol. It looked very different. It looked like a very different story at lunch when England looked so much more dominant, and then towards the last from the last session on, the Indian fight back started thanks to the two debutants. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. We'll be back with a lot more. We'll be back at 10 in the morning to bring you updates from the three Euro matches being played out, and and then through the course of the day, there'll be a lot of build up. There'll be a lot of build up for the World Test Championship final between India and New Zealand, and of course, there will be continued coverage of the women's one-off test between India and England being played out in Bristol. Thank you and good night.